Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Savvy Cast. This is Jamie, and I'm so glad you're here. And I'm here with Zane, and we have been talking for an hour, thinking we were recording a podcast and a YouTube. And right before we signed off, I looked and it said recording paused. So, Zane, I'm very, very sorry. We're just going to sort of speed through what we spent an hour discussing, but it's not even on the hard drive to record. So sorry, sorry, sorry.
No, take a deep breath.
Yeah, y'all, this is
Be patient.
it's rough.
I'm at my office today. Jamie
Yeah.
went to this.
Went to church. He's working. Yeah.
It's a Sunday. I'm trying to get ready for stuff, and Jamie and I wanted to do this, and she had all these questions come in. So now I guess at least we've looked at some questions because we were doing these spontaneously, and now at least we've looked at some of the questions. So let's see.
So y'all, Zane, I'm very, very sorry, but guys, we're just gonna hit. I put a question box, and these are a lot of the questions. Some are asked several times, and we're just going to dive in. So this will be a very condensed version, but it'll probably be a better version. So, Zane, thanks for sticking with me here. So I had myriad questions of some sort from those who follow on other platforms and who may have listened to my podcast where I shared about when your spouse converts to another faith. Zane's converted to Catholicism. We're not going to really talk about that much because I shared my perspective, and I'm going to let you he'll give his snippet. But I want to say we appreciate and we welcome, we never shy away from any of you asking anything. So it's not that. Zane, you can just address all the questions about your conversion or just how you want to address that at this point in time.
Yeah, and I might let you read those to me again because I don't have them in front of me. But I'll say as Jamie's getting them that.
Okay. Well, I've got them. Let me go ahead and
Okay.
get it up. What made Zane switch to Catholicism? Your journey since Zane converted, and I'll share and link in the show notes to my podcast. Why did he convert? I'm a Catholic and would love to know. One more. Let's see. Catholics believe in the gospel plus works, praying to Mary, a different Bible, purgatory, and you switched to Catholic. Why? And no, I did not. Gabbert's 2021. Thank you for that. I did not switch. I'm still a fundamentalist, Protestant, non-Catholic Christian. But Zane, you can go ahead and address. So that was basically it. Explain his conversion. That was Christy Richards. Okay.
Yeah, and there were a lot of questions on that Jamie and I spent a little time with, but like I said in the first podcast that didn't get recorded, this I've never shared in any media approach, social media or anything about my Catholic journey. And it was about 15 years, and I've been a Catholic now for a little over 2 years, about 2.5 years. And it's highly personal still. I'm always ready, as Peter said, to give an answer to everyone that asks for a reason of the hope that is within you with meekness and fear. But I am still processing this with family members and dear friends. And I don't want to do this, in a podcast. And it's super nuanced. I mean, this is not, my family and I have spent hundreds of hours discussing this before I converted and after I converted in a very healthy way. I'm so grateful for my family. And so I'll just say it's been a unique journey. Jamie and I have had some rough spots, but it's much better now. And I would say one thing, encourage everybody. The Catholic Church believes that if you're a baptized believer and you name the name of Jesus as your Lord and Savior, that you are a Christian if you're baptized in the Trinitarian form. So we are all brothers and sisters. And just for my non-Catholic friends, I love Jesus more than I ever have. I love his word. I've always loved the Bible as much or more than I ever have. And I'm growing in my faith and hopefully getting more virtues where I can love God more and love people more. And hopefully my wife and my family can see that. But I would like to talk more about this at another time. And also just one thing, Jamie, one of those questions got me to start with about Catholics believe in Jesus plus or the gospel plus works. That's not true. And I think, before I was a Catholic, especially in my early days when I converted so many Catholics, because they were easy picking, y'all. Most of them in the South didn't have a clue about their faith. I can ask them a few questions and convert them. I baptized so many people that grew up Catholic. But I thought the Catholic Church believed what things that they don't. I characterize the Catholic Church. And one of those mischaracterizations is that they believe it's Jesus, blood plus works. That's not true. So just quickly, 30 seconds, Jamie. The Catholic Church believes you are saved 100% by grace, by the mercy of God, initiated by God in Jesus Christ, calling me to Him, choosing me. But then, once I accept Him, we believe that the church gives us sacraments and ways to grow in holiness. And the evidence of our salvation is a changed life. And so, in no way do I think I contribute to my salvation. Do I think I could be disqualified if I reject or I don't produce fruit in my life? Yes. And anybody that reads the Gospels, just read what Jesus said in red letters, would have to agree with that as well. That obedience and virtues in our life indicate whether or not we have touched the Holy Spirit in salvation. So anyway, I would love to do this. I'm writing a lot about this. I'm still getting to my friends, my coaches, my mentors, my aunts and uncles to explain it. So thank you for those questions. Thanks for the interest. It's probably one of my favorite topics, not just in a big forum.
And we're doing great now. I will say, even though I'm not Catholic, I love going to church to mass with him, love his priest, love all my Catholic friends. And I just, at this point in my life, I peacefully not just coexist, love and fellowship with, just we're not all on the same board on certain things. Now, this is a totally other thing. I shared a lot because I was at the farm this weekend about our VRBO and Ray Todd 823. What's the pricing on your VRBO? I don't know that. Zane doesn't really. Judd and Owen handle that. But in a nutshell, I think it is available now. And we will put a link in the show notes. And you can also follow Retreat at Marble Valley on Instagram, and you can message there. And now that Auburn football has started, it's a great place to stay and be halfway to Auburn, I guess,
Yeah, and from Birmingham. Yeah, and
from Birmingham.
what a fun project with my kids.
Yeah, they did a great job, but they're handling all of that. But yeah, we'll put all that in the show notes. Okay, we had people ask about our marriage, how regrets, things we did right and wrong. So I'm just gonna let you hit on all of those, and then I'll follow because as I said, we were taking an hour doing that, but now, so just a few of those marriage questions that.
And I think it's pretty neat when you read their questions so we
Oh,
can
okay.
really answer them. So I think the one you're referring to, I'll let you find the other ones, but what do you regret and what did you do well? So I'll start with
What you did well versus what you'd do differently now that you can look back? That's Jay Vincent, MD.
all right. So
I don't know if this is talking about us separately or.
yeah, let me tell you, I think when you first read it the first time, it was both. Together and in our life, I think you and I are both in our life. What I'm grateful that God led us in is choosing our friends. We chose our friends correctly. And in a marriage, that is so important. From young married to older marriage, I don't care how old you are. If you're 11, if you're 16, or if you're 60, like Jamie and me, your friends will direct and determine your path. So we love, love, love our friends, and I'm very grateful how we did that. I would say I'm very grateful with the way that Jamie and my hobby together, even in our roughest patches, in our own spiritual journeys and in our marriage, we did church together. If you listen to Jamie and me talk about church, the importance of church, even when I went the Catholic route and she's still the evangelical route, we do church together. I still go with her. I'm still involved. She goes with me. Our friends, our small group, we do worship and our religious life together. And that has been huge that we both love God. And that was really our hobbies, always ministering and having small groups and doing dinners and hospitality. So I think we did that right. And all the research shows that if you pray together and worship God together and obey the 10 commandments and best you can scripture, that is really good. So I'm very grateful that we were raised to do that because that kept us out of a lot of issues. The regrets I have, probably a little bit. There were seasons in our marriage. Of course, I regret any of my experiences with sin, and I had a good bit of experiences with sin. And I regret that because I offended God and neighbor. So I regret that, obviously, but I'm so grateful for the mercy of God. So I don't think about that much anymore. I would say certain seasons in Jamie and our marriage, we were over our head and we didn't ask for help fast enough. And there was some damage done. So I would say my older self would tell my younger self, when you're over your skis, ask for help. There's a lot of wisdom out there. We had good counselors, but sometimes we were a little too late after there was some damage, probably to our kids and to ourselves as well. And the last thing I would say, I said this on another question, talked about it more. If I could be completely honest, in our marriage life and in our raising kids, there were seasons where I traveled too much. My business, I was more successful if I traveled a little bit. And my kids, I was able to go to all their games. I mean, when they were young and even junior high and high school, I could manage around their games and all that stuff. But there were seasons where I should have said no to travel. So that's what I would answer, Jamie.
And honestly, you said the things we did right. I would echo that. And then regrets, I would probably echo some of what you said. There were just some unfortunate times where we had struggles that maybe we didn't handle them quickly enough or maybe in the right way. But anyway, other than that, I think that I'm answering just like you did. Okay, let me finish with kids because then we're going to go to grandkids. But Jay Vincent, MD, who asked about what we would do differently, also said marriage when you had little kids, how to connect expectations, etc. I'm just going to say I think the way uh, we were all involved in church together, and then of course we went to our kids' sports and did family things, but and we traveled some, but I don't know that we did. I feel like we got babysitters and did date nights. We did a lot of out of town marriage retreats that were 2 and 3 days. We did Dennis and Barbara Rainey. I can't even remember the name of their organization. We did a lot of that kind of thing. So we did get away. We were not a child centered home, I don't feel like. So I feel like that would be my best advice. Just make sure you and your spouse are working on your marriage, which will naturally involve that time together, whether
Yeah,
you're,
and Jamie, I would say we connected intentionally through church. I mean, we ministered
yeah,
when our kids, they would go to the kids stuff and you and I would minister together. That was our hobby.
yeah.
We also loved conversation and we tried to have times of conversation. And I'm very grateful. You cooked, you cooked every night. I was in town and we ate a wonderful meal, put the kids to bed, and you and I always had very good conversations. So I was grateful for that. One thing, we did a little inventory one time of things we both really like individually. And then we compared those things that Jamie really liked that I said I liked. And one of the things that we both liked was going to plays. And there was a season in our marriage where we got memberships. We had to scrounge for it. But to the Birmingham, what was it called, baby? It was Broadway stuff. They would
Yeah.
bring Broadway plays down here. And boy, that was a big deal. We would do that. So I think recreational companionship
It
is
could be
really,
pickleball. It could be anything you
yeah,
enjoy.
we didn't
Yeah.
do well back then. We didn't work out well together because Jamie didn't work out like I wanted her to. And she definitely didn't want my opinion on her form. So you have to be careful that it doesn't frustrate you. But
Yeah.
um, important to connect. And those babies will love it when their mom and daddy are sitting on the couch, when they're up in their bedroom and they can hear you having a positive, encouraging conversation.
Oh, yes, they love it. Okay, so chasing Amy W. What's it like to be grandparents? And then Ann C. Saunders, about to be new grandparents. Any advice? All I can say is I had no idea how obsessed I would be over those babies because, I honestly was not sure if I was going to be you know, swooning over even my own grandchildren because I'm not like a baby person. I love babies, but there's just something that happens. You can't wait. I'll almost every day send pictures, send videos, even though they're right down the street. And we're just glued to the phone. It's just crazy. Um, and we do have both of our grands living here. We're very thankful for that. We get to see them. We don't have a set routine. We're very blessed. They are very blessed to have the other grandparents. So everybody's grandparents are in town or close, and it's just one big party. Everybody does how they grandparent. Some have more scheduled time. We are just more, when we can. We don't have X number of days. That's not the way we do it. But we're having a great time, looking so forward to what lies ahead. And we just could eat them up. We love them so much.
Yeah, I mean, amazing. We're trying to be intentional. We're trying to learn from other good grandparents. One of the things we're learning, as Jamie said, we have amazing co grandparents on both sides, and we're just enjoying the value they're bringing to the table. And just, God's blessed us that Jamie and I are competitive in certain things, but we do not have a spirit of competitiveness with these grandparents. And like some of them are really good. I mean, on paper, they're doing a lot more than us, fixing the nursery, going over there and, you know, 2 days a week and not work.
Yeah, we'll get on the family text.
Oh, yeah.
Look what Dr. Carr, he just fenced the backyard. Awesome.
Yeah. Look what Amy did. She came down for 2 days.
But
And
we love it. We
Hey,
love it.
praise be to God. We love
Yeah.
those grandbabies and we want to support those marriages. So
Yes.
pray for us. We want to just love, spend time loving unconditionally. We don't want to babysit. We want to keep and love unconditionally and invest in those grandbabies and their parents, trying to find ways to continue to serve our daughters and their amazing husbands so that they can be the best parents they can be. So thanks for asking.
Yes. Okay. Tara Goldstein, and this is a great one. And we've been married 30, how many, Zane? 37,
38.
38 years. So it's spanned and it's changed. How do you guys handle arguments? I so admire how you relate. Well, Tara, if you had seen us many, many years ago, you would not admire. We were in the ditch a lot of times, and
Lot.
just in a nutshell, we are extremely different we have looked a lot at the Enneagram. I'm an 8, he's a 3. We are extremely different in our approaches to situations, to different things. That sparked a lot of early on arguments that were basically rooted in either control or insecurity, us wanting the other to act or respond in a way that we felt was appropriate. So I would say and now in the golden age of empty nest, the thing that has helped us the most, and if we had known this earlier, I would say our marriage would have been 90% better. Don't try to control your spouse, because it's usually not from a place of virtuosity or it's not because you're trying to be a great person. It's usually because you're selfish or you're controlling, and it doesn't work, so it leads to arguments. And we learned that the hard way, and now we can disagree, we can discuss. We do not try to control each other, and that's what sparked so many of our arguments in the beginning. So
Yeah. And Jamie and I had to work a lot on this, and we still do. There's still things we don't
yeah.
agree on. But I would say a couple of things that has helped us, even now, is don't be scared to go to a third party. Even a close, friend or person at church, you don't have to always pay for it. If you can pay for it, Jamie and I have a counselor on call, so where we can have appointments, even if we don't feel like we might need it. Because when you do need it, you can't get on their calendar. Go to third party. We went to so many of our friends that just help us think through things. Also remind each other all the time in these arguments, you're on the same team. When Jamie wins, I win. When our marriage wins, we win. Our kids win. We're on the same team. So have candid conversations, but really think through what is best for the marriage. What is best for the marriage? And the last thing I would say is learn to compromise. Things aren't just black and white in marriage. This is what we should spend on a house. This is what kind of vacation we ought to go on. This is the budget we should have. This is, what we ought to be involved in sports and what we shouldn't. It's very nuanced. Get comfortable compromising. and living a little bit in the gray. And I would say, ask God before you have a tough discussion that you can both be mature. You don't take it to personal levels. If you're the kind of person that has a tendency to take arguments personally, especially when you don't have the good logic and you just start wanting to be mean, stop it. Just have the self awareness to say, okay, I'm about to go personal, so I'm going to take a breath. That's what I would say, Jamie.
Mm. Okay, so now we have a question, and Zane, this is to you. What do you think keeps a husband happy day to day? And it says PG response.
Day to day. Okay. I'm going to answer this from one of our favorite books that Jamie and I have done several marriage conferences about. We've led them, we've done small groups around it, a book called His Needs, Her Needs, where you really rank what your needs are. I think a lot of us as men, especially Christian men, are afraid to tell our wives what we need because we feel like, oh, we're supposed to be the servant or we're supposed to not, complain or just be happy with whatever. I think self awareness is very important for a man to be clear enough to tell his wife, this is what I need to be my best. So I think a part of that is the sexual need that any good man has. The only place we can get that met appropriately without being illicit is from our wife. And we're grateful for that. And a good man that's ambitious, that's courageous, that's going to protect and lead is going to have a sex drive. Now, hopefully, we're considerate. Jamie, you told me a lot of times you were so glad I had a sister and a mom and understood. I was trained that, don't be crazy running around, all the time. Be thoughtful, be kind. But I think number one, we appreciate it when our wives recognize that the only place we can get our sexual need met is with them. The other things I would say, men to be happy, and I think I'm not speaking for all men, but I'm 60 years old and I've been around a lot of men. A lot of men talk about their marriages, good and not good. Men like order. Most men I talk to like cleanliness, order, their schedules for family schedule in order. That's a real positive thing. And when women give us an orderly life, because left to ourselves, we live, down by the river in a camper and be really happy and never wash our sheets. Order, though, kind of tames us. And then I also think just respect. Scripture says this clearly. Women need, different things, unconditional love and all this. Men need respect. The Bible says just respect your husbands. One of the ways I see, and this might be sensitive, Jamie, but I'll just say it because this lady asked it. We men that married women found our wives extremely attractive when we married them. They were attracted to us. We were drawn to them. The way they acted, talked, moved, looked. Try to do the best you can at your different seasons of life because your husband feels respected. You don't have to get plastic surgery and get your hair done, all this stuff. Do the best you can to take care of yourself because any man I've ever talked to is grateful for that. They feel respected. So that's what I would say,
And
Jamie.
she was asking you, but I'm going to also say that the same thing applies to men. Don't just become Joe Blow when you've got your wife and start, getting the beer belly, laying on the sofa. I don't think many men do that, but I just think everyone should remember, he married me or she married me because of my good positive traits. So keep that up. If you don't do it for yourself, at least do it out of respect for
Yeah,
yourself.
and taking care of yourself mentally too, and conversationally and intellectually. Read, you got married because you enjoyed conversation, you enjoyed the person's sense of humor and mind. Keep those things up. Just like Jamie, if you're on a team, if you were on a football team as a guy, you owe it to your teammates to work out in the off season. Show up prepared. Be the best you can be. Don't be somebody different, but be the best you can be. And I think a husband or a wife appreciates that in their partner.
Yes. Okay. Okay. And then, okay, we had a lot, Zane, about finances. I think people know you are an investment banker, and one that was definitely it's estate planning, how to find a good financial advisor, and then selling a business when you have a partner. How do you do that? Can you sort of merge those two? I know they're a little separate.
I can't merge those because those are totally different. Uh,
Oh, okay.
the first one is how to find a financial
Okay,
advisor.
the first one is
Very good question.
Gabbert's 2021 estate planning, how to find a good financial advisor.
Okay, great question. I'll do this quickly. I'm an investment banker, but I work with a lot of financial advisors, wealth managers, and watch how they work. First of all, Jamie, in your show notes, let me give you a list of some questions you should ask to interview a wealth manager. And I'm very, very positive on this. Advisors matter. The data shows people that have wealth advisors do a lot better than people that try to roll their own. Oh, I'm a smart doctor. I'm going to manage my own wealth. Well, that's not a good idea. That's like me trying to do my own knee surgery. So I would say have an advisor. I'll give you some questions. But one quick thing on this, wealth advisors are different based on their target market. There's several different segments. The first segment is somebody that has less than 500,000 in investable income. That's a certain kind of advisor that has to work with a lot of people. And so their level of service is going to be different. You might even have some robo advisors where you do a lot of this online. Then you go up to maybe a million to a couple of million. That's a little more service, but still a lower degree. And then it goes up typically over 5 million, over 10 million, over 25 million, over 50 million, and then a family office where maybe you have up to 500 million. Those advisors are different, and you need to make sure you know the category that your family's in. And you don't have to be that worth, 50 million now to get a great advisor, but you need to be on the path where they can see that your business is going to be worth that, or you're a super high earner when you're young. Maybe somebody that their minimum is 5 million will take you at 35 because they see you're going to have that amount pretty quickly. So I would say be very aware of the different types of wealth managers that you qualify for. And they're different. Jamie, let me give you one example. Taxes are critically important. I know we both have a friend that her parents just died and they got some wealth tied up in probate. If you're worth more than $25 million, or going to be worth more than that right now, really 26 million, you need a very sophisticated wealth manager. Okay. Because taxes are going to be the way you create avoidance of taxes. Now, I'm a broker dealer. I didn't say evasion. You'll go to jail. That's a sin, but you want to avoid them. The people that manage 25 million and more really know how to do that. So I'll put some
And
questions in your show notes.
and I will say for those of you who are women, be involved. Like I adore our financial advisor. I trust her to make sure I'm taken care of. Because there are things that if he died, I know I could pick up the phone and she's taking care of everything. Don't just farm that out to the husband. I think some women just leave that to the man. And I just think it's vitally important that you do a lot of this together and that your financial advisor has your best interest at heart as well. So, our next question is, what is the best way to retire when you own your own practice and have a partner?
Great question. And this could be a medical practice, a accounting practice, law practice, investment banking practice, like I have with my partners. Number one, you want to define what you determine as a good retirement. What is your goal of what a good retirement is? And then you work backwards and work to build enterprise value in your practice, and then build a way that you have a lot of options. You could sell your ownership to your partner or partners, or to the up and comers. That's what we're doing in our business. We're selling some of our partnership over time to our younger people because that makes them more excited about the business. And also in our age, it's time for us to start selling a little bit. So lots of opportunities. Define what you want, build an amazing company so that your interest, your partnership is actually worth money. And then you have a lot of options to sell it to investors, to sell it to younger partners, or to sell it to your current partners.
Okay, thank you for that. I have no clue about any of that.
Well, I don't know how to cook lasagna, so we make a good team.
Hmm. Okay, parenting adult children and the best way to encourage a good relationship with them. Zane, you want to?
Sure. I think the best way is by God's grace to have a relationship with them when they become adults. So I would encourage y'all with littles to keep that relationship because I can tell you, and I think Jamie would agree, the older your kids get, the more rewarding it even gets.
Mhm.
It's worth it. Adult kids are amazing. And now, as Jamie and I have gone through a lot of stuff, some of you have gone through it at JH Ranch and Scott River Lodge, you could actually become their consultants. And that's what I love. We're not trying to police them. We're not trying to tell them what to do. We're not trying to control them. But what if they ask us for our advice? So I think the best thing we can do is be cheerleaders, encourage them, listen to them, spend time with them. Jamie and I are reflecting at this season of our life how to travel with them correctly. And we're learning from some really good teachers that we respect, that have gone before us, and just spending time with them and serving them and loving them. And I'm going to say something very personal. Jamie, if you cut this out, that's fine. But I just read a book called Dial with Zero. And it talks about when you get older, maybe enjoy a little bit of, instead of trying to leave your kids money, a lot of money, maybe start figuring out how to bless them right now at this stage when maybe they need it more than they will, when you pass away, and you get to enjoy it with them. So Jamie and I are thinking through with, how might we serve them in some areas where we would never, ruin incentive, but just encourage them in a few areas where we might have a little more disposable income since we don't have a bunch of kids and stuff anymore.
And Zane, we've been to so many, what do you call it, heritage or what the things we've been to it for self. What is it? It's
And it's the business I'm in. It's when you are thinking about legacy and how to bless your kids and grandkids and
down the line.
down
There's some books because I had a lot of questions when I was sharing some of that when we were there a year or so ago. Are there some books
Yes.
that give the good principles? Because
Yes.
a lot of nuances to,
Yeah.
yeah.
And these are godly people that are trying to do it the biblical way. I've got a ton of them here at my office, but my partner's done a lot of them. Our friend Kim Polk just wrote an incredible book on the spirit of wealth. Why don't we put a lot of those in the show notes?
And I think we'll see if he can come on too and do a
Oh,
podcast. There's
yeah.
so much
Well,
wisdom because it's interesting how people with vast wealth are very intentional, many of them, on how, if, under what circumstances they pass that on, if they do. And we have learned so much from some of our friends that we'll try to share that.
hey, listen, and this is not because Jamie and I are not at that level of wealth, but even if it's not wealth, if you have some time, what you can do for your adult kids that struggle. My dad, Jamie, and this question, how can you support them? They didn't have financial resources, but do you remember what he did before he had his stroke when I was traveling trying to start my business? And Mimi would come up and keep the kids. You remember what he would do on Saturdays for me?
My goodness, yes. He would come clean the garage. All I remember was Paul T with a broom.
Right? He would
Cleaning
clean
out
the
the
garage.
garage. He would clean the,
He
he
would
had the
cut the
broom,
grass.
mow the grass, blow the leaves. Yes.
Because we didn't have the resources when I was trying to build a business, young, married, working for IBM
Yeah.
before I started a business. To do all that, I would come in off the road. Mimi would be playing with the kids, helping Jamie so she could run some errands. Paul T would be cutting my grass, washing my cars, help me get my oil changed. My dad didn't have the capital to give me a lot of money. But what do you think that meant to us? Figure out how to serve your kids.
And that may not be because, Zane, we know that we don't do any of that. We don't go clean the kid's house or blow. We do other things. It's very
It's whatever,
what you have and how you can serve your children.
serve your children. If they have your values, if they're doing the right things, you can really serve them and bless
Yes. This one, I'm going to let Zane answer. We're going to answer this together. We've already answered this, but it wasn't recording. So, M. Hart 1741. Not sure if it's too personal, but how can a husband support a wife through menopause? And I am in menopause. I've been in and I'm in many menopause now. And Zane can give his take. My biggest piece of advice is a husband can't really do much of anything. It is upon us. Now, he can support, but find a great practitioner. Mine is my OBGYN. I believe in hormones. They have saved my life. my sex life, our marriage, hormones have worked for me. Had I not found that, I don't know what Zane could do to help, because it can be really bad, but I think there's so much out there that can help you overcome those symptoms and thrive in midlife. But I don't think your husband is like the source of helping you through that. I think even beyond a husband, if you're like seeking emotional support, I think good friends, because your doctor can only help you so far. I mean, 30-minute visit, he can write the script, but friends understand. Men have zero clue. They just have no clue. Zane, you speak to that.
I think we try to understand it's real and support you in getting help from others, because trying to support you is not going to work in a way of giving you advice. And women, please, as Jamie said, don't expect your husbands to be able to solve this. Just ask them for support. Men, I encourage you to, do whatever you can do to support her with the right doctors, love her, be patient. When you have to, go to the farm, play golf.
Find
So
something you can
do your
do.
best. And the other thing I would say, because this is real, I mean, for some women, it's worse than others, but man, there were times where it's like, this isn't Jamie. This must be chemical. I love her enough not to put this on her, because this isn't normal. So I could somehow clinically, by, wisdom of God's grace, just say, I got to just be patient. But also, you can offer it up to Christ. I think, men, some of us, we've just been spoiled. And when our wives get a little difficult, chemicals going on, we can get all bent out of shape, like, you shouldn't be this way. I think sometimes we need to just say, thank you, Lord, for this. Help me to buck it up, support her, and I'll offer this up as a sacrifice of praise in my patience.
Yeah, that's good. That's very, very.
I'm so glad God made menopause later in life, because as a young man, I would have been, I would have thought I married Jamie, I'm sorry. I would have thought I married a crazy one. Oh Lord, I married a crazy one.
Well, you wake up and you're hot and you're wet and you're sweaty. You're mad. You're
Guys, and
yeah.
listen, I'm not making fun of this. I'm
It's
so
not.
grateful.
No, it's
Y'all are complex. You're beautiful. I love the complexity. I love the sensitivity. I love the emotions. I love the beautiful babies you've given us. But men, as we get older, let's just be patient, support our wives, and love them, and do what we need to do to be there for them, but also take care of ourselves so we don't lose our patience.
And then, because I think that was the last question, I think someone did ask about conflict over time, and I think we've already answered that. But I will say to anyone who's in the throes of maybe menopause or struggling in a marriage, we have been in all of that, and we were there for many, many years. There's something about the emptiness, well, Zane, we're beyond midlife, really. We're almost 60.
Oh my goodness, Jamie.
That's upper midlife.
You wish we were midlife. We're senior citizens.
We really are. We get
We are.
eh, so, but what I will say is it's a beautiful place to be. There are many wonderful things. If you can stick through those hard times, it's a smoother ride at some point. If
Hey, Jamie, and I want to encourage everybody with what our small group was about Monday night.
Oh, yeah,
Can't
let's
remember.
end on this, because this was very good.
Yeah, and thank you, Jamie. Just a lot of these questions that Jamie gets about marriage, and we want to encourage you in that, just to stick with it, because we have had a up and down marriage, y'all. I mean, if when we can really get honest with y'all, we've been through it. Now, we have not had a child die, which I cannot imagine, and a special needs child, serious health problems, that would be brutal. But Jamie and I have had a lot of these situations. But here's how I like to encourage you as we end. And Jamie actually sent this to me with a theologian that said this not long ago, and we discussed this in our small group. And here it is to encourage you in your marriage. As Jamie said, it gets better and better and better. Don't let Satan discourage you and get you out of your marriage. And if somebody is being abusive in your marriage, we got to pray, because that's very difficult. But some of these things about conflict and all that, you can work through this. I want you all to have a perfect marriage. This theologian said, a perfect marriage is an imperfect husband. We got one of those. And an imperfect wife who absolutely refuse to give up on one another. That is a perfect marriage. That is holiness. That is sanctity, and that is sainthood in the making. So, Jamie, these were great questions, but the one on marriages, I would say go work on a perfect marriage. And the fruits of it are amazing. And as you get older, I think it can give true peace of mind, true joy. And most importantly, you can help each other and your babies and your grandbabies on their journey to heaven.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Zane. And thank you for the hour that we were talking that it was not recording and for being so patient. Thank you for watching and listening. I appreciate you so much. And as always, until next time, you have a fabulous rest of your day.